I'm 80 years old, and there are things I wish someone had told me earlier. Not when I was young and confident, not when I believed time would always wait for me, but now, when truth matters more than pride. If you're still breathing, this video is for you. I've lived long enough to see people chase the wrong things. I've watched strong men smile in public and break in private. I've seen kind people postpone their happiness, waiting for someday that never arrived. Here's the truth no one warns you about. Life doesn't announce when it's changing. One ordinary day becomes the moment you wish you could return to. You think you have time. You think you'll start later. Later becomes years. Years become regret. I've buried friends who thought they had more tomorrows. I've watched dreams die quietly, not from failure, but from delay. If I could tell you just one thing, it would be this. Don't wait to live. Call the people you miss. Say the things you're afraid to say. Take the chances your heart keeps asking for. Because one day, you'll wake up older than you planned, holding memories instead of possibilities. I'm 80 years old now, and I don't regret the things I tried. I regret the moments I postponed. If this reached you, it's not by accident. You're still here. That means your story isn't over yet. I've buried friends, people I laughed with, planned with, and promised to meet again someday. Someday never came. I've stood beside graves thinking we had more time, thinking there would be another call, another visit, another apology. Life doesn't wait for closure. It moves on without asking. I've buried dreams, too. Not because I wasn't capable, not because I failed, but because I kept telling myself, not now. I watched years pass while I prepared instead of acting. I chose comfort over courage. I chose safety over truth. And slowly, quietly, dreams faded without making a sound. Here's what 80 years teaches you. Failure hurts, but it heals. Regret stays. When you fail, at least you know you tried. You learn, you grow, you adapt. But when you don't try, the question never leaves you. What if? I've carried that question longer than any failure. It's heavier. It keeps you awake at night. It whispers when the room is silent. I've met people at the end of their lives who didn't talk about money. They didn't talk about titles or achievements. They talked about moments they missed, words they never said, love they never fully gave. That's when I understood something simple and painful. Regret weighs more than failure ever will. Failure bruises the ego. Regret scars the soul. I'm telling you this not as advice from a book, but as truth earned through loss, time, and mistakes. If you're listening right now, learn from my years. Fail if you must. But don't leave your life unlived. Time isn't money. That's one of the biggest lies we're taught growing up. Money can be earned again. You can lose it, rebuild it, multiply it. But time only moves in one direction. Every day you wake up, you're spending something you can never replace. You don't notice it when you're young. You think time is endless. You think there will always be another chance, another year, another version of you. At 80, you see time differently. You remember moments more than achievements. You remember conversations more than possessions. I've seen people trade their lives for paychecks, believing they were being responsible. Years later, they would say the same thing. I wish I had slowed down. Money didn't hug them when they were lonely. Money didn't sit beside them when their health faded. Money didn't bring back missed birthdays, lost friendships, or quiet mornings that never returned. You can always make more money. You cannot make more time. Every hour you delay living is an hour you'll never recover. Every day you postpone joy is a day removed from your future. Don't misunderstand me. Work matters, but life matters more. Use money as a tool. Don't use your life as the payment. One day you'll look back, not counting dollars, but counting moments you let slip away. Time doesn't wait, it doesn't negotiate, and it never comes back. No one remembers how hard you worked. They remember how you made them feel. I've lived long enough to see this truth play out again and again. People don't talk about your long hours or your sleepless nights. They talk about moments. They remember if you listened. They remember if you were kind when you were tired. They remember if you showed up when it mattered. I've met people who gave everything to their careers. They were praised, promoted, respected, but years later, their children remembered an empty chair. Their partners remembered silence at the dinner table. Hustle makes noise in the moment, but feelings echo for a lifetime. I remember a man who worked harder than anyone I knew. He missed birthdays, anniversaries, ordinary evenings that turn into memories. When he retired, he finally had time. But the people he wanted to spend it with had learned to live without him. No one at his funeral spoke about deadlines. They spoke about laughter. They spoke about warmth. They spoke about absence. You won't be remembered for how busy you were. You'll be remembered for how present you were. So slow down when you're with people you love. Put the phone away. Look them in the eyes. Success feels good for a moment. Being remembered with love lasts forever. When life is over, it's not your hustle that speaks for you. It's your heart. I didn't fail most of my dreams. I was afraid to start them. That's the truth many people never admit. Failure gets blamed, but fear is the real thief. Fear sounds reasonable. It tells you to wait until you're ready. It tells you to be practical, to be safe, to be realistic. And while you listen to it, life quietly moves on. I watched dreams die before they ever had a chance to breathe. Not because the dream was impossible, but because the first step felt uncomfortable. Most dreams don't die from one big mistake. They die from hesitation, from overthinking, from waiting for confidence that never arrives. At 80, you realize something painful. Fear doesn't protect you from pain. It protects you from living. The people who tried and failed eventually found peace. They knew they gave it a chance. But the people who never tried carry questions forever. What if I had started? What if I had believed in myself? What if I had been brave for just one moment? Fear steals years before you notice they're gone. Failure only steals a moment. If there's something you've been putting off, something your heart keeps returning to, that's not an accident. Start before you feel ready. Because fear grows when you listen to it, and shrinks the moment you move. Arguments end, ego stays, but people leave. I learned this lesson the hard way, not from strangers, but from people I loved. I remember moments when I needed to be right more than I needed to be kind. I chose pride over peace. I thought winning the argument meant winning respect. I was wrong. Arguments fade with time. You forget the exact words, the reasons, the details. But ego leaves scars. It builds distance. It creates silence where love once lived. I've seen relationships survive mistakes, but not prolonged pride. Love needs humility to breathe. It needs apologies, even when you believe you're right. It needs the courage to say, "I'm sorry," before it's too late. At 80, you don't remember who was right. You remember who is gone. People don't leave because of one argument. They leave because ego refuses to soften, because pride chooses control over connection. I wish I had understood this earlier. I wish I had said less and held more, listened more, forgiven faster. Love is fragile. Ego is heavy. If someone still matters to you, lower your pride while you still can, because once people leave, no argument is worth the silence they leave behind. If you're waiting for the perfect time, it never comes. Life doesn't pause for planning. It doesn't wait for courage or confidence or the right moment. I've seen people wait decades, waiting for certainty, waiting for comfort, waiting for a signal that never arrived. And in the end, they realized the perfect time was now. Stop waiting to say what's in your heart. Stop waiting to take the first step toward your dreams. Stop waiting to forgive, to love, to live. The moments you delay are moments you will never get back. You think there's always tomorrow, but tomorrow is never guaranteed. You have today. And today is enough to start. Reach out to someone you miss. Take that chance you've been afraid of. Do the thing your heart has been asking you to do for years. You don't need permission. You don't need certainty. You only need courage, the courage to begin. I'm telling you this not from a place of theory, but from 80 years of seeing life slip through hesitant hands. Don't wait. Because waiting is the silent thief of dreams, of love, of life itself. Start now, while you can. Before time, fear, and regret take what could have been yours. I'm 80 years old. I don't fear death. Death is honest. It comes when it comes. What I fear is something else. I fear a life unlived, a life where love was postponed, where dreams were delayed, where words stayed trapped inside the heart. At this age, you don't wish for more years. You wish you had used the ones you were given better. I don't regret the chances I took. I don't regret the risks I accepted. I regret the moments I waited too long. The truth is simple, and it's heavy. One day, your life becomes your memories, nothing more. So live in a way that gives you peace when the noise ends. Love deeply. Speak honestly. Choose courage over comfort. If you're still here, listening to this, you still have time. Don't make my mistake.